Hello tacticians, it's Nox here, and today we're going to carry on with our look at the Blood Angels with Mephiston, because the cat is well and truly out of the bag and we are allowed to discuss this with you. But before I go into that, I just want to say my usual thank yous, and they go to Blotus Rotundus, Tentafor, Subversa and Krantros. All of you have used my friend code and it is very much appreciated, as it really does help me out. I have finally caught up with everyone I need to thank, so if you want to see your name up here, feel free to use my friend code. You'll get 100 Blackstone too, and I'll also thank you. But anyway, let's have a look at Mephiston. As mentioned before, Mephiston here is the legendary character for the Blood Angels, and his legendary event will be arriving in August. I'll have more details for you on that closer to the time. However, if you want to go by the data mined information, you can go to tacticusplanner.app and they have all the details which have been data mined there. So if you want to start preparing your teams now, there's at least somewhere you can go. Although there's no guarantee that'll be how they are at release. Now, apart from being a Blood Angel, he is also a Psyker, and the rumour is that he is one of the most powerful Psykers the Imperium has. And he is indeed terrifying. And if any of you are thinking that he is part vampire or have been told that he is that, please report yourselves to the Ordo Hereticus. And even though he is wielding a massive blade there, both of his melee and ranged attacks are actually psychic attacks. And now let's have a look at his abilities. His active ability is called the Quickening. He targets a hex within movement range 2 that is neither occupied by an enemy nor by a friendly unit in Deep Strike. Mephiston then moves to that hex. If a friendly unit is on that hex, that unit moves to Mephiston's previous location. All Blood Angels moving this way then perform a normal melee attack after they move, dealing 110% of their own damage up to a maximum amount, which depends on level. Units moving this way do not trigger Overwatch or other movement related reactions. We'll actually see a bit more of that in action when I go to the gameplay. His passive is called Fury of the Ancients, where after moving he'll deal psychic damage to an adjacent enemy and an additional enemy adjacent to the initial one. Affected enemies can neither recover health nor be revived for 2 rounds. If Mephiston does not move, this ability triggers at the end of his turn, and it's not on the screen, but it's worthwhile pointing out that this ability's damage ignores all of the attacker's bonuses and modifiers and cannot crit. So my initial thought here is with both of them, you're going to want to get them leveled up as much as possible. Not only is it utility, it helps you deal even more damage to the enemy. The passive in particular makes me very interested to see how it would work with the Neurothroat team. But let's have a look at him in action. As with all new characters, we have to run the Calendis test, which is basically what happens when he gets shot by Calendis. And as you can see, it's not the best idea with this guy. He really isn't that well armoured, although if you really had to, it looks like he can survive. However, whatever you do, don't use his active to move next to Calendis, because you're going to be very unhappy indeed. Speaking about his active, remember it has to be a range of 2. So if I was to put him around here, you will see that when I choose the Quickening, no one is within range. So make sure you place him in the correct position where you can use it. However, there is some good news. If you move your other character first, and probably shouldn't have put him next to Calendis like that, and then use the Quickening on that character, you can see that works perfectly okay, and you can get multiple summons here. But of course, when it goes back to Mateo's turn, all of them will disappear. The other thing to be aware of is the movement by the Quickening does count as movement. So if you have Ragnar, you will need to War Howl first before you use the Quickening on him, as afterwards you will not be able to use that War Howl. There is a bug at the moment in the test system where if I click on him, you'll see the War Howl is available, but in the live system, that will not be able to be done. So make sure you use your howls before you swap. And of course, here you can see I have swapped with Ragnar and he doesn't attack because that attack is only triggered for other Blood Angels. And finally, you will have noticed it in the previous clips, but as you move him next to the enemy, that lovely shade appears and attacks 2 of them, and it will only be 2. So if we get 3 and we do the same thing of moving them into contact, you'll see that only 2 of them will be attacked, and which 2 they are is actually random. With all these abilities, will Mephiston be used in Tournament Arena? Well, yes, and if you thought the Tournament Arena was in a bad place to begin with, it's not going to get any better. Now, I've got a trio of snipers here hoping to stop this, but of course, with someone with fast movement like Celestine, you can do your usual War Howl, and why not make it twice with Outtro, because it's a fairly regular thing to see in the Tournament Arena nowadays. You can then run in, yeah, you'll get hit, but then you quite happily delete 1, 2, 3 of their characters before they've even moved. I really hope Snowprint will do something about this before the Tournament Arena arrives. Now, this won't happen in every single map, but there's enough of them where it could be a big issue. So this is how I envisage a possible team to work like, and this is the Rogaldorn battle tank at Legendary 1, and all the characters are Diamond 1 level 44 skills with epic crit items. So we'd start by moving Mephiston forward and doing a bit of damage here, and we'll move all these across. Now the tank will come down, and this is where we start the sequence. So we've hit it with the zone throw, and then we'll start summoning in the Pink Horror and Screamers, all adding the neuroparasites. Then you obviously move your character out of the way, do another psychic hit, and bring in them again, and again, and again. And the whole point behind this is to increase the number of these neuroparasites that the tank has in turn. Well, 2 in this case. So if we look at the tank now, it's already at 13, and your Neurothrope is going to be doing loads of damage in its next attack. And remember, just by having him move next to the tank, there'll be 1 added as well. So it's now already up to the maximum number of neuroparasites, and we can really lay into it with a Neurothrope. And remember, this is only a Diamond 1 team. If you have the skills higher, you'll obviously do even more damage. So is it worthwhile trying to unlock Mephiston? Well, yes. If you start planning now using the Tacticus Planner app, you have probably got a good chance to get the characters you require to help you unlock them. And as I said earlier, I'll be going through exactly what you need to do nearer the time when it's all set in stone. If you like these videos, then it would be much appreciated if you at least think about using my friend code, as it really does help me out. Or if you or your guilds are looking for a new home, please reach out to any of the guilds shown, as we'll always welcome new people into our midst. As always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll be seeing you on the battlefield.